This episode, summer is here. Well, folks, it's been hot. I mean, hot. Anyway, it's always hot in the Southeast, so we don't really care. But anyway, we decided we'd do a tips and tricks show on summer maintenance and also on summer safety. Welcome to the Handyman Pros Radio Show, home improvement and maintenance tips from the pros. Thanks for listening to another edition of the Handyman Pros Radio Show, where our goal is to help save you time, money, and aggravation on your home maintenance and repair. This edition's entitled Summer Safety, or actually, summer is here. I screwed that one up, but that's okay. Summer is here, and to help me explain, I am here with my ever-cheerful co-host and old buddy, Johnny. Johnny, what has been going on besides just perspiring?
Oh, my God. Is it hot?
Yep.
It's hot all over the United States, I was surprised how hot it is way up north.
Yeah,
so
well,
that's some real extreme stuff going on up there.
It is summer,
yeah,
my friend.
But I mean, even in Fargo, it's sweltering up there. Boy, it's either way below zero or it's way above it. I'll tell you that much up there.
But Johnny, wasn't that true in Chicago?
Yeah.
Same thing, right? It was either hotter than flipping Hades, or it was colder than, because growing up outside of Rochester, I remember looking at Chicago going, man, like mostly in the wintertime, but even in the summertime, it's like, man, it's like extreme there compared to where I live.
Yeah.
And now when I think back on it, and that was only, not that long ago, longer than we think, Johnny. Anyway. It would get hot in the summer and it would get cold in the winter. I mean, hot and cold. I mean, I don't believe here in Atlanta we've had a day over 100 yet this year, and we haven't had a day over 100 in I think 3 years, which is not common. That's actually uncommon for us. Normally we have a couple, anywhere from 5 to 10 days over 100 degrees, and we have not seen that in multiple years at this point. So whatever, go figure.
Yeah, well, as we're going to talk about here, you have to be really careful in the heat.
Yep.
And I'll tell you, I worked on a job building some deck gates and stuff, and I try to get out there as early as I can. And I thought, man, I'm gonna beat this one.
All right, but we've got to stop right here, because before we dive into this show more, Johnny, I've got something to say. I wanted to remind our listeners, make sure you hit your subscribe button on your podcast player. One of the reasons we're doing this right now is we just launched a YouTube channel not too long ago. So we really want to make an announcement about YouTube. So if you'd like to see our ugly mugs, as it were, the faces for radio, subscribe to our YouTube channel. That is at Handyman Pros Radio Show on YouTube. So anyway, more on heat safety, Johnny.
Yeah, and just to go along with that real quick, that all of our shows are up there on YouTube, by the way. So, yeah, heat safety. I try to do as much as I can as early as I can.
Yep. So we're going to lay out some strategies for heat safety, like what are some things you should do, and also some of the signs. And then we're also going to give you some tips and tricks on actually what jobs you can do that are mostly inside. So to do some maintenance on your home, so that you're not out in the heat.
And if you've been listening to the show, like I discussed with you earlier, Larry, so if you've been listening, your house should be in pretty good shape to be hiding out during the summer. Your air conditioner should be working, and
it should be.
Your drafts and everything are, pretty well.
Your fans,
up. Yep.
Your fans are balanced. The right way.
Your
fans are balanced and turning in the right directions and all that.
In the right directions.
Well, that's exactly right. Right. So anyway, all right. Anyway, heat safety, Johnny. What are some of the tips? You just brought the big one that I do the same thing. So in the summertime when we are working outside, what do? We get an early start, right?
I'll tell you, as early as possible. I mean. I know in some parts of the country, I mean, if you're not back inside by around 7:30 in the morning, you're cooked.
Yeah, that was like when we lived in Dallas. I mean, I always tell these stories. Like in Dallas, you do everything before 10 o'clock in the morning or after about 9 o'clock at night, because if you're going to be outside, because those 100 to 110 degree days. It's brutal. It's brutal. It's brutal. And kind of interestingly, in that area in Dallas anyway, where we live, they actually have a different code for the windows. So you have to use triple pane windows to be up to code, which is not
Really?
typical. Yeah, yep, absolutely. We replaced our windows and they're like, "Yep, we got you up to current code. It's triple pane windows." I was like, "Holy smokeroonies, that's
Yeah.
crazy." So, um, but it's a pretty arid, hot
Yeah.
climate in the summertime. So
Yeah.
it is what it is. It is what it is. But yeah, get out early. That's the first. That's really the first tip, right? I mean, it seems most of these things you're going to say are just basically common sense, and yet common sense is not common, right?
Yeah. I guess second nature should be to bring water with you. And I do. The problem is, I don't drink it as much as I should, and
Right.
that can really affect you, and you don't even know it. That's the
Right.
thing about all this. That's why we're kind of bringing this up, folks. Is that this stuff will sneak up on you, and it just leads to heat exhaustion. So you have to be real careful because it's sometimes I get out there. I'm sure just like everybody else, and I get a shovel in my hand or I'll do something, and all of a sudden I'm digging around and I'm sweating, and they start to get used to it a little bit. And now I'm not drinking water, and one thing leads to another, and it's not a good situation. So
It's called target fixation, right?
yeah,
You
yeah,
get fixed on a task and you're not really paying attention
exactly.
to what's going on around you and what's happening within your body. I think one of my biggest tips is really listen to your body. Your body will tell you. It gives you all kinds of signs as to what you need and what you don't need.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, one is water, and folks, don't drink any kind of like, I know this seems simple, but no sugars or very limited sugars, very limited salts, because that all those items dehydrate you. No diet soda whatsoever. That is just a way to dehydrate yourself completely. So no, just it's pretty much straight water. You could do, maybe even Gatorade is too sweet. There's too much sugar in Gatorade, so you'll feel it. I don't know. Do you feel this, Johnny, when you drink a really sugary drink? It feels like it comes out your pores.
um, yeah. Besides making me all nervous and everything,
Well,
giving me a
yeah,
give you that sugar buzz, but
yeah.
I
I
don't
actually
feel I
feel it.
don't feel
I
good
feel it
about.
come out my pores. It's gross.
Yeah,
It's like
I don't feel good about it when it's hot out.
right,
And so that's a telltale right there.
right,
That's not
exactly.
that's not good. But here's what I try to do, and especially lately because it's been so hot. Wear a hat.
Hat.
I got a bandana that I put around my neck or something with water on it.
Yep.
And I try to take water with me, but like I just admitted, I don't drink it as much as I should when I'm out there, and that's a big mistake. And I think a lot of times is that if you're working on with a bunch of other guys, yeah, or girls, whatever, but on a
Other
crew
people.
with other
Yep.
people is kind of watch them.
Yes. Have you ever had anybody go down on you on a job site, Johnny? I
I,
have.
I have not had anybody go down, just fall over, but I've had people get really lightheaded,
Yep.
and it's not been pleasant, and it can be a pretty scary thing. But you kind of have to watch each other, and maybe only work in 20-minute shifts, and take a break, get
Yeah,
in
I was
the
gonna
get
say
in the
lots of
shade
breaks.
somewhere.
Yep.
Um,
Work in the
it's
shade. Work in the shade, right? That
yeah,
makes common
yeah,
sense, right? Seems like it. I'll tell you, as far as clothing goes, I always like to mention this, right? So mimic the clothing of peoples that live in arid or in really hot climates, aka the Arabs
yep,
or anybody that lives, even in the Amazon. Now, just depending on where you are, but like cover your head with wear light colored clothing with light colored, lightweight clothing,
right,
preferably
yep,
white in color. It makes a huge difference. I always look for me. I look at fishing guides like in the Florida Keys and stuff, and those guys wear a hat. They wear a hat. They wear white pants, white
yep,
shirts, white, and they cover long sleeve shirts. They don't wear short sleeve shirts. They wear long sleeve shirts, and but it's all light, kind of gauzy. Clothing, and it's super comfortable when you're standing out there on the water.
yeah.
It's kind of what you need to wear, and so it's the same thing when you're working
Yeah.
out there
Yep.
you
And be
know
careful of the sun. That's why you wear long sleeves. You see a
Right.
lot of guys that work out in the sun a lot, right? You see a lot of workers out there, and they'll have long sleeves, and you'd be like, man, aren't you? It's that boy. That sun can be brutal on you, right? And
Yep.
a lot of sun is not good for you.
Right.
That's
Right.
a whole
Yep.
nother chapter. But
Yeah, it's a different chapter, but it's part and
yep,
parcel of the same thing. A lot
yep.
of it is done just to keep that off, and actually it will actually keep you cooler. So yeah. So anyway, Johnny, what are some of the signs of heat exhaustion, heat stroke, whatever you want to call it?
Well, the first one that comes to mind is dizziness. I've seen this before, where people, start to flounder around,
Yep.
and that's they're headed in the wrong direction at that point.
Yep.
So you need to get those people in the shade and get some water in them. You can get muscle cramps. That whole
Headaches.
the
Yeah.
headaches, like we said, the dizziness, the thirsty, and everything else. But it's kind of funny is that it sneaks up on you, right? And
Yes.
you don't even know it until it's almost too late.
Right.
And that's what happens to everybody. So, you almost need to have like a timer or something. Hey man, I got to take a break. I got to get water, right?
Yep.
Even if I'm not thirsty, I get water.
Yep.
So, just some things to think about, folks. This isn't groundbreaking. It's just,
No,
since it's been like over 100 all over the place, it's a good time to remember what we're doing here.
I'll tell you another symptom that I personally noticed, right? So as an older guy, as they say, when you get close to 60 years old, there's three rules. One of them is don't ever pass up a bathroom. If you stop having to go to the bathroom a lot when it's hot out, you need to drink water.
Yep.
It's a sign
Yep.
that you're not drinking enough water.
Right.
And I know that might sound gross, but it's true.
Yep.
It really is. It's true. And I just I'm aware of these kinds of things, blah blah blah. But yeah, all that kind of stuff. And one other thing, I don't know if people know this, but if you suffer from heat exhaustion once, or heat stroke as it's called, if you have heat stroke once, you are more susceptible to have it again and again and again. And so it's kind of one of those things. If you've ever had heat stroke, your chances of getting heat stroke again increase. I can't remember. It's like a factor of 2. So again, if you've had these kinds of issues, be very, very careful going forward, because you can do it. And these can be life-threatening as well.
Oh yeah.
So you can go, it literally can kill you, which is not, I don't want to die doing lawn work. Trust me, that is not the way that this cat is like,
Right.
I have other ideas on how I want to go.
Right.
So,
and it's not work.
And it's not,
So,
and it's not work. That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Anyway, let's change tacks, Johnny. How about some good home maintenance activities we can do inside?
Change your air conditioning filters.
Right, which actually is going to accomplish.
HVAC.
Yeah, it's going to accomplish a lot of things. Number one, it's going to make your air conditioning system work
A
not
lot
as
better.
hard.
We've talked about that ad nauseum.
We've talked about it ad nauseum. It's also going to clean the air in your house. So that's a good one. If you haven't done that, there's one of the things you can do. I always tell people it's time to do some things around the house that you don't do very often, like run a lot of ice. So we talk about cleaning out the garbage disposal. Well, the simple way is you pour in a whole bunch of ice and maybe a little Dawn or a little bit of soap or maybe a little vinegar or lemon juice or something like that. Grind that up into a slurry in your garbage disposal. Dude, it's like polishing the inside of the garbage disposal. And if you use a like lemon, it makes it smell good too. So, it's time to do that. What else did I write down here? Oh, this is one of our favorites because Johnny, you had this job. You remember the job you had where the joist rotted out underneath the refrigerator? Because they had that little tiny leak.
I almost forgot about that one.
Yeah. So it might be time, like a good activity for you to do, just it's a general maintenance item, but you should do it at least once a year. Pull your refrigerator out and do 2 things: clean under it, but make sure there's no water leaks under there, right? So John went out on a job site that, I've got a leak in the basement, and he looks up and the joist is rotten through, and it was from a tiny drip on the ice maker.
That's right. Drilled its way all the way through the hardwood floor.
through the hardwood floor and then through the joist, and it ended up being. It wasn't catastrophic. You caught it with what, on a 2x10? It was down to like
I
2 inches.
sistered that, and then
Yeah.
then I had to replace the hardwood floor underneath the refrigerator because it was
Yep.
totally. I mean, what a mess!
Yep.
But that's a good one. Basically take advantage of being inside.
Yeah.
If you're gonna be inside, start looking around. If you want to do something, boy, now's your opportunity to because honestly, fall's coming. And that's
Yeah,
a whole
start
nother
getting ready
thing.
for
You're going to be outside more. You're
more.
going to
Yep.
want to enjoy the fall. Get some of these things. Get some of these things done. I
Check.
just look under my refrigerator. Just matter
See?
of fact,
I did too, because actually, well, for a different show, but
after what I saw, I was like, yeah, and now I'm going to keep looking.
yeah, this will actually lend to, we're going to do a show on hidden treasure. It's like, what treasures do you find underneath the refrigerator?
Dog hair.
Combination of dog hair and money that's rolled up under there. Anyway, but yeah, do that. Go, check your outlets. Make sure your outlets are all secured to the wall properly over the year or over a period of years. They get a little loose from the plugging in and out. I'll tighten up those. What else we do? Oh, I always like, I'm big on cleaning. My wife has really long hair.
Mm-hmm.
So of course my drains get filled with, she's really good about it, but I don't care how good you are at it. About picking up the hair out of the sink, hair still gets down in the trap. So take a zip tool, right? If you don't have one, they're about $1.98 at the big box stores, and clean out your drains, dude. I can't tell you how many homes I've gone and people say they've got a slow drain. I take that zip tie, I pull out a thing that looks like a rat, of hair and soap and gunk. But every once in a while, just as a matter of a maintenance issue, stick that zip tool down there and just pull out what's in there, because why wait till it clogs? Because then you got it's actually a real mess.
Then you got a problem. The thing that he's talking about, folks, is you can go into the big box stores and get this thing. It looks like a zip. It looks like a nylon zip tie.
Yep. Except it's got
a bunch of barbs on it with a little handle. It's a throwaway thing. I think it's like $2 or something, right?
Yeah, they're not very expensive, but they last a pretty long time.
Just stick it down in that drain, and when you pull that thing back up, it's going to drag out everything that's in that drain. And it's a good little. I mean, it takes no time at all, and it's easy to do. So
easy to do, and it's really worth it. Everyone, particularly your bathroom drains, it's really, really good on the bathroom drains. Anyway, clean your range hood. That's one that a lot of people never clean their range hood, right? So the grease and stuff gets up in your range hood, and there's a filter in there. Take the filter out, clean it, get some good degreaser, clean that whole area out, get it clean, because it's actually a fire hazard. And so, you want to get that cleaned out as much as possible. What else is out there, Johnny? Is there anything you're thinking of that you can do?
No, you covered it. I sit around when I'm, if I got nothing to do and I'm inside and it's the middle of the day and it's hot as heck out. Just kind of look around. All of a sudden I'll find stuff like there's a dent in the wall I gotta fix. There's maybe I got to do some touch up on the paint. All that kind of stuff, since some of the dogs over here or whatever,
maybe there's some icy alcoholic beverages that need to be consumed,
right.
Things like that, right?
But, yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what, another tip is, boy, I tell you, if you don't if you have a, let's say a sink in a bar, like in your basement or whatever, and I do, and you don't use that thing as much as like a kitchen sink,
right?
Okay,
right. Yep.
You pour the remnants of some drinks down there, a beer. Within a week, that stuff will start growing like a thing from an alien. It'll start growing everywhere down there. You really got to wash that stuff out of there. Just a tip. You don't have to worry about it in a kitchen sink because you keep running water in there all the time.
Run water through it all the time.
But if you're just doing it like a sink that you hardly ever use, and you're just dumping beers in there, the remnants of beers or whatever, rinse it out good.
Wash a little water down. It actually brings up another tip, John. Now that you say that, if you have a bathroom or any place where there's a water drain, maybe a laundry room sink or something that you do not use a lot.
Correct.
it's a good idea to run some water
Yep.
in it, because what happens, this is just FYI, what happens is the water in the trap will actually evaporate out. And then you'll start smelling septic smell. And I have had this, I've had several times when I've walked into people's home and they say, man, my bathroom, it smells, or the extra bathroom is usually what they say, where usually they have a shower there that they don't
Yeah.
use except for guests, which is not very often, like not even once a year necessarily. And you go in and sure enough, it smells like septic. It
And
smells like,
this is a problem.
yeah,
I
well,
mean, it can be.
it
The
can
gas
be.
is coming back up out of there. And I will tell you the other thing that happens is that the bathtub in there and the toilet might be on the same stack, on the vent
Yep.
stack.
Yep.
And what happens is, and it happened to me, is that one of the extra bathtub hadn't been used in a long time. That drain went dry,
Yep.
and it started to suck air
Yep.
when you flushed the toilet in
Yep.
there.
Yep.
And it was like, what in the, so yeah, just that's a good tip. Always keep water, run
Yeah,
water
just all you
and
have to do is
everything.
run some water in it. That's all you have to do. Just run
That
some
is a
water
good
in
tip
it.
because a lot of these bigger homes and stuff that don't, a lot of these other, bathrooms and things, the kids might be gone. They're going back to school or whatever. They're not going to get used. Go up, flush the toilets.
Flush the toilet. Run the water in the sink. Run the water in the bathtub.
Correct.
Simple. I know, folks, it's simple, right? And yet we've walked in on it. We've had
Yep.
it happen to ourselves. This is not, we're not casting stones, because John's explained I don't have an extra bathroom, so I don't get that issue. But I have been in many, 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 many homes, like more than 10, where I've actually done that as a service call. And I'm like, oh, you just need to run water in it every once in a while.
Yep.
And explain what I just explained to you, or what we just explained, basically. And sure enough, they go, oh, that's it. I'm like, yeah, that's it. It's really that simple.
And if you ever go on, I think we talked about this one time. If you ever go on extended trips and stuff, make sure that put a little oil or a little like vegetable oil in there. It'll stop it from evaporating.
Evaporating. Yep.
So just some of these tips, because you can come home after a long vacation and you might be surprised at what might be flying around that's coming out of the drains and stuff.
Yeah, there is a specific fly.
Yeah,
called a
there
sewer
is.
fly.
Yeah,
and they are these little black flies, and they're very. They have kind of semi-rounded wings. They're very. You can tell what they are.
And once they start, boy, they
they
are
come
tough
in-
to get rid of.
Yeah, they're
You
tough
can
to
get rid of it, but boy, they are tough.
And they come up out through an open drain, just like we're talking about, where the water's evaporated off, and then and sure enough, it's a sign, and they will come no matter what.
Oh man,
and that was
yeah.
on these service calls that I'm talking about. That's how I actually knew, because inside the shower, like one of them was an enclosed shower, I could see 2 or 3 sewer flies. I'm like, well, you don't have water in your tap. I'm like, it's really that simple.
We're gonna wrap up the show here soon, but I was gonna say that I had a half filled box of Rid-X because I live on a septic tank.
Yep.
I have a septic tank, so I pour that. And those sewer flies loved Rid-X.
Yep.
And I didn't know where they were coming from, and there was colonies of those things inside that box. So anyways, folks, not to gross you out, but yeah, if you see those things, you probably got a dry drain somewhere.
Yep. And they're very, very, very identifiable. They're kind of tiny. They're a little bigger than a fruit fly, but they're just very, you can't miss them. They're very distinguished.
Yeah.
They have a very specific profile. And they don't do anything. I mean, I don't even, I guess I don't, whatever. I don't want to get into entomology, but they don't bite or anything, so it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But they are pesky. They're pesky because they fly.
Yeah, they're
like
a pain
all
in the
flies,
butt.
So anyway, all right, Johnny.
Yep.
Well, is there anything else before we're taking apart a spaceship?
No, I don't think so. Just repaint the page, spaceship, I guess. I don't know. What are you gonna do, right?
Are you down to painting already? You've got that thing back assembled. It's reassembled, and now we're putting paint on it.
Got to.
Man, are you gonna logo it up in the Eastern colors? I'm just asking. Just
The handyman colors.
yeah, the Handyman Pros
Pros.
colors. All right, folks. If you like this craziness we call the Handyman Pros Radio Show, please tell your friends and neighbors. Please
YouTube.
hit subscribe on your podcast and leave us a review as well. But don't forget, you can see our ugly mugs on YouTube. Our channel is the Handyman Pros Radio Show. We're going to do some other videos, some how-to videos eventually. We've got a few on there right now. They're kind of old, but we'll update some of those coming up in the future. We're getting into videography a little bit. So with that, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, send us an email, questions@handymanprosradioshow.com. We'll put your question on the air if you give us a good one. If you want to hear something about a particular show, send us an email. We really would like it. We do have a Facebook group that's Handyman Pros at Handyman Pros on Facebook, and we've got a pretty good forum going on out there right now. Lots of good, great ladder pictures. Oh my God!
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, just
the crazier the stuff, the better.
It's just like wow, like yeah, like what are you thinking? Anyway,
Right.
also
Stupidity at its finest.
yeah, and also lots. We're getting quite a few people are posting up some of their jobs they've done and some of the work they've done.
I love it. I love
yeah,
it.
it gives us a good.
Hey,
a good,
we learn.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's why we're here.
That's why we're here. All right. If you would like, we do have a newsletter as well. If you'd like to subscribe, that's Handyman Pros Radio Show. Just click on the thing, you'll get there. We want to thank you for listening to the Handyman Pros Radio Show. We'll see you next week.